Hello, I'm Jason and welcome to my comic book reviews, where I will share with you my reviews of the books that I got this week. So without further ado, let's get into those reviews. So first up in my reviews this week is Trinity of Sin Pandora, issue number 9, which features the penultimate part of the Forever Evil Blight crossover. I came into this book not really knowing what to expect because Pandora is, I find her one of the least interesting characters in the DC universe, and the only reason I've been picking this book up is for the Blight crossover. So I was hoping it was going to pick up, but the last few episodes of Blight have not been good. But luckily, yeah, we had a good, things get better. I wouldn't go as far as say it was great, but things are better. So the issue kicks off. You have Pandora, Phantom Stranger, Cassandra Kraft and the Sons of Trigon headed to Nandar Parbat to take out Phoenix Faust and Nick Necro, who have captured all these magic-based characters and are going to use them as a big weapon for the crime syndicate. There are consequences to what happened last issue between Nick Necro and John Constantine, and Faust really has to step up here. I enjoyed how Faust was written in this issue. I always think the greatest power you can give anybody is the belief that they are right. Because if they're right, how can anything they do be wrong if it's in the right reasons? And so I always like that in a character, especially a villain, you know, that they're doing things for like the right reasons. And this really fuels Faust and makes him very interesting in this issue. I still wasn't that interested in Pandora. They've tried adding this new wrinkle in that she might not be human. So like there's more mystery to her story, but I'm still not that interested. Tell you the truth, and I'd much rather be having a Trinity of Sin the Question book rather than the Pandora one. The art in here is lovely. I really enjoyed the art. Francis Portela does the art and they do a great job. The cliffhanger on the last page I thought was done well. It's kind of been foreshadowed in the past that if that person got power it would be bad, so I liked that we came to that. While it wasn't the best issue, it was a lot better than it's been, and it does feel like things are driving to a conclusion with this issue, and I would give Trinity of Sin Pandora issue number 9 4 stars out of 5. So moving right along, next up is Batman and Aquaman issue number 29. This kicks off a brand new story arc for this book with the hunt for Robin. A while back, Robin's grave was dug up, and his body was stolen along with his mother's. So Batman is on the case to try and find what's happened to his son's body. His chase is taking him after Ra's al Ghul, and he's going to this base from like underwater. And Aquaman has heard these whale cries, these whales that are dying, and he's trying to locate where that's coming from, and him and Batman kind of run into each other and realise they're going in the same direction, so they decide to team up. And then it's all about that can Ra's al Ghul get away before Batman gets there, and he keeps trying to throw roadblocks in the way so he can escape. All in all, I did enjoy this issue. The pace of the story is really quick, and I think part of that is we've gone back. Like the last 5 issues, we've had this big story arc with Two-Face. Where here, we just get the one issue with Aquaman. And when you've got 5 issues, you can tell a story a bit slower and build things up and explain things and concentrate on things more. Whereas with this book, because you've only got basically 1 issue, you've got to whiz through all this stuff so you can finish this part of the story. So the next issue you can bring in the next character who's going to team up with. So the pace is a lot quicker, which for some might be better, some might be worse. I just found it was something that I had to get used to because this did become a very quick read. There are some shocking twists and turns, some things I don't know if they've been around before, and this is where they've got them from, but some of the things, yeah, they were a bit shocking. The end, it kind of lovely sets up next issue, and I like that. Yeah, there were moments in here I would have maybe liked explored a bit more, because it was a bit frenetic as you were rushing through the story, but it was still a fun read. I like Patrick Gleason's art, but I'm not 100% on how he draws his Aquaman. But even so, this was still a fun issue, and I would give Batman and Aquaman issue number 29 4 stars out of 5. So we're going to stick with DC now as I review issue number 29 of Batwoman. And this was like, I've recently jumped back on this book and I'd caught up to date with where I'd left off. So this is my first issue that I've bought as it's come out, if you will. And I really enjoyed this one. It does feel like Mark Areco is beginning to get a feel for this character. And I liked a lot of what happened in this issue. It felt like Kate. I like the relationship between Batwoman and Maggie. I really like that relationship there, and how they deal with that relationship. How it's not like they scream at each other, but they actually discuss things, and I really like that. I think it's a real positive relationship, and I'm really interested in where it's going to go in the future. We know DC have got this thing about no marriage, but I think that could be such a lovely story, because they've got such a lovely relationship in the book. We get a lot more background this issue on these paintings and who painted them, so that was really good. And we also get to see Wolf Spider in action again. I liked, us going into Arkham Asylum. I thought that was really good. I don't know if these villains they showed us have been in other books, or maybe even this book back in the day, I don't know. But certainly they look like there's some interesting characters in there. The cliffhanger was brilliant, had me really, really want to see what happens next. My only downer on this issue would be the art. We have two artists. We have Jason Masters and Jeremy Hannon, is it? I don't know. Jeremy has been on this book before, and he's done a good job, and I like his art. Jason Masters, I have not heard of before, and I think I can pick out the 2 or 3 pages that he does when Kate goes to see the psychiatrist. And I just did not like how he drew Kate at all. The psychiatrist was okay, but the way he drew Kate looked like somebody totally different. So yeah, I wasn't keen on that. But at least they used him cleverly in that they only had him do that scene with the psychiatrist, so they looked a bit different. So I'd applaud them for the way that he used him, but I didn't like how he drew Kate. Other than that, though, I thought this was a nice, fun issue. Continues the story nicely, and as we anticipate next month, and I give Batwoman issue number 29 4 stars out of 5. So next up we have Green Lantern New Guardians issue number 29, and this issue we continue last month's story with these god killers, and we get a really nice lot of like origin stories this issue. The main prophet of this religion. We get the backstory of the God. We get the backstory of the God killers. So that was really good in this issue, that we get a lot of answers, and it fleshes out some of the characters that we've seen. So that was really cool. I liked the art as well. I thought the art was really good. Brad Walker does a great job on the book with his art. I'm still totally not used to this character, Carl Rayner. He's not a Lantern I know very much of, and I haven't quite taken to him yet. But all in all, though, this book's got a lot of clever ideas, and I'm enjoying where it's going. And if you like your sci-fi, or you want a Lantern book that's separate from what's going on in the other books, this book is a good book to get, and I would give Green Lantern New Guardians 5 stars out of 5. So now we leave DC, and we're going to jump into Image, as we have 5 Ghosts issue number 10. This book still remains so much fun. We didn't get much of our main character, Fabian Gray, in this issue, as a lot of the characters are kind of shipwrecked on this island. So we follow a couple of characters on this island and see what they're getting up to. But we didn't. The story's so well told. We didn't really miss Fabian, as we're seeing kind of like other people have like some of these dreamstones, and how the dreamstones affect the people in different ways, and they have different abilities and powers. So that was really interesting to see. Like I say, the book is just a bungle of joy, and I just enjoy it every issue. At the end, we get Fabian arriving on this island as well, and there seems to be something strange about this island, so I'm really looking forward to finding out more and seeing where this is going to go. But yeah, the book just has a load of fun feel, retro-y kind of feel, and yeah, it's a really good book, and I'm so glad, because it started as a mini-series, and it was so popular that it's gone into an ongoing, and I'm so glad that they've been able to tell more tales with Fabian, because I just really enjoy this book, and they just managed to keep it real a lot of fun, and I give 5 Ghosts issue number 10 5 stars out of 5. So next up, also from Image, we have Undertow, issue number 2. I picked up issue number 1 at the same time as well. And reason I picked this one up, I already liked the kind of concept, but I was under the impression it was a mini-series. But after hearing Sleepy Reedy talk about it, I asked him and he said he felt it was an ongoing, so I've jumped on board, and I really like this book. The basic premise is it's like based back in prehistoric times. Atlantis is this big city, and people, to escape the rule of Atlantis, have come onto dry land, and they've got this one guy that they follow, and he's like their leader, and so they're trying to live, but they have to have like special breathing helmets and stuff because they can't breathe without water. So yeah, I like the idea and kind of making Earth the alien planet. I kind of like how they've twisted that, rather than us going to an alien world, that they've made Earth the alien world. So yeah, I really like that. The first issue very much was a setup of this world, introducing characters. The second issue, we start to get a bit deeper into these characters and what their intentions are, and find out a bit more about these people, which was a lot of fun. I like the main character, the leader. He's really good, and he's a real interesting character. He's not interested in politics at all. He leaves that to other people. He's just interested in making sure everybody's safe. I really enjoy the story. The art and colours are really good as well. Particularly the colouring, I think, needs special mention, because the way they colour it, there's one colour palette for when it's a flashback, then you've got another colour palette for when they're underwater, depending where underwater they are, so that goes through slightly different shades, and then you've got another colour palette for when they're on dry land. So instantly you kind of get the impression of where you are. So I really enjoyed that. I'm really taken to these characters, and like I say, I think the idea is a really interesting idea, and I really enjoyed this, and I will give Undertow issue number 2 5 stars out of 5. So next up, also from Image, is Lazarus, issue number 7. Initially I didn't pick this up, which, I was thinking of dropping it, not because it wasn't good, but because I'm trying to cut down on my books. I say that after I've already added one new book to my pull list this week with Undertow. So yeah, I was attempting to cut down my pull list, but I couldn't leave Lazarus, and I'm so glad I didn't. This book was just brilliant. It is grim as hell, but it is a brilliant read. The cover, I didn't like the cover. Let me rephrase that. The actual cover itself, the picture, I liked. What I didn't like is it kind of spoils what happens inside. You kind of get the impression something grim's going to happen to one of our characters. So it did kind of spoil that and didn't make it as much as... I think it would have been more shocking if there hadn't been nothing to kind of warn you that this was going to happen. I think it would have been that much more shocking. So yeah, I didn't like that, but the story inside really good. Forever, she's still trying to track down these terrorists. So we have her dealing with these terrorists, but this one woman will not crack and tell them where they are. So Joanna comes in, and she's going to approach it from a different direction, which is interesting. And then meanwhile, we also follow. I think it's the Bennetts. They're called. I keep calling them the Barretts, but I'm sure it's the Bennetts. Yeah, the Bennetts, they're still trying to get to, because they want to get to the Carlisles, so that they're there for this thing called the lift, where the Carlisles will pick some people to be kind of work for them, and so like we get more of their journey, which doesn't go well. I like the fact that we're opening the book up now and looking at the larger world. I really liked that, and we're getting to see the underclasses, and I think you could see the world going like this. I remember there was an article I saw earlier this week about how the wealth is spread, and how like the certain percentage of people have the same money as the next like 90% of people. So yeah, so like you can see how wealth has been, how it's kind of like been separated, where you have this small minority have a lot and this big majority have not much. So you could see a world like this coming, and I think that's one of the things that makes this book so good, is that yeah, it's set in the future, but it's a future you could see coming, a future you could see realised, which makes the book that little bit more scarier. The art, once again, is brilliant, with some great atmosphere. I like the kind of glimpses into Forever's childhood. I would like to see more on that email, but I think we're going to come round to that eventually. At the moment, I think we're just setting things in place and having a wider look at this world as it is. But the book continues to be an absolute, I was going to say a joy, but it isn't really a joy. It's a good book, but it's pretty grim reading. But I enjoy it. I'm gripped every issue. And I've told myself off thoroughly for thinking of dropping this book, and I'll be keeping it on my pull list. And I give Lazarus issue number 7 5 stars out of 5. So my penultimate book to review this week is the sole Marvel book on my pull list this week, which is a bit of a surprise. It is Thor God of Thunder issue number 20. This is a return to form. This is the Thor we were getting back when we were getting God Butcher and God Bomb. It's that good. It's returned back, and it kind of leaves that question in my head of how much was that Hellcat or bringing in Malkuth the Accursed, how much of that was Jason Aaron wanting to use that character, and how much of it was Marvel wanting him to do something with the character that was in the film. Because they did the same thing with Spider-Man when Amazing Spider-Man came out, and they had the Lizard turn up in the book. So yeah, it does make you wonder how much of it is that, because certainly that Accursed storyline was nowhere near as good as the God Butcher and the God Bomb, which were really great stories. This one, we are part 2 of the Last Days of Midgard, and yeah, like I say, we're back on Thor. The story kicks off with King Thor and Galactus. Galactus is about to devour the Earth, and King Thor is gonna, stop him by talking if he can. If not, then he's gonna lay the Smackoff down. In present day, we have Thor and Agent Simmons, I think her name is. Solomon. I keep calling her Agent Simmons. I think she's the one off of the TV show. Yeah, it's Russ Solomon. And together with Thor, they want to shut down Roxxon and all these other companies that are polluting the atmosphere. So with their whatever they're doing, so they come up with a unique plan to take them out. Which by the end of the issue, we're starting to see the consequences of that. There's the old adage, I think it's physics, that action causes reaction, and certainly we get that by the end of the issue. There's a really cool geek out moment with King Thor in this issue that I enjoyed, as well as a great reveal about one of our villains. All in all, this book was an absolute joy to read. I haven't enjoyed a Thor issue this much since, I think probably it was just after the God Butcher, the God Bomb finished. So yeah, this was a fantastic issue. I really enjoyed. Isad Ribic on art is just so suited to this book. It gives it such an epic kind of feel that really complements Jason Aaron's writing. And like I say, yeah, this was a return to form, and I would give Thor God of Thunder issue number 20 a definite 5 stars out of 5. So my final book to review this week is Wonder Woman issue number 29 from DC Comics, and this would most definitely be my pick of the week. It was just an absolute tour de force. It was just awesome. I geeked out so much reading this book. I'm surprised I didn't have a stroke. I was geeking out so much. This issue, Wonder Woman and the gods of Olympus kind of have to go back to Olympus to kind of see the aftermath of the battle between Apollo and the Firstborn and the new status quo that has created. And we get all the ramifications of that. We get some great big battle scenes, and then we get some really nice twists towards the end. And just by the end of the book, I was punching the air, and I just had such a fantastic time reading this book. I don't know if new readers would kind of get a lot of the stuff in this book, but it pays off a lot of stuff that's been going on from early in the book. Things come full circle and get paid off. So I don't know if everybody would totally get what was happening here if you hadn't been reading it from the beginning, which would be maybe the only gripe, but the story has just been so brilliant. My only real big gripe would be it does feel like we're approaching an ending, a big finale, which is sad because it means Brian Azzarello will be leaving soon. I totally love this book. I've never ever been a Wonder Woman fan, but this is just such an awesome book. It just carried on this whole story for over 29 issues, because you've got 0 issues and you've got your Villains Month issues and stuff. But yeah, this book has just been an absolute joy to read, and I've just loved every minute of it. And this issue was just so good. It's everything that had been laid down for the last 29 issues kind of gets paid off, and I'm so looking forward to the next issue. I want it now. But yeah, this book was brilliant, and as you can probably tell, I really enjoyed this book, and I would definitely make Wonder Woman my pick of the week and give it a definite 5 stars out of 5. So that's me done for another week. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me the lovely thumbs up. My plans for next week, I'm hoping that I'm finally going to get around to reviewing those Marvel Ultimate graphic novels that I've read. I've read a bunch of them, I just haven't had a chance to review them yet, so hopefully Monday or Tuesday I'll have a review up for the next 2 of those. And then Wednesday obviously will be my comic haul day, so that should be up sometime Wednesday evening UK time. And then next weekend I'll be back with my comic book reviews. So yeah, so that's pretty much everything I've got to say. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Jason. This has been my comic book reviews. Bye for now.